Hey everyone, thanks for joining me for another episode here on Recruiter's Digest. Today we're going to be talking about the application process for your candidates. So the actual application that people are filling out to apply for your open positions here and how to think about that strategically. So the end goal is really to ask enough of questions to qualify your candidates appropriately, just so that you're not getting a bunch of unqualified candidates, but also not to create too much friction in this process where you're deterring quality applicants just because it's taking too much time to fill out your original application. I see a lot of applications online where you're asking for 10, 20 questions and to upload a resume. And in some cases, for some positions, that's just too much friction in the application process, and you're ending up deterring a lot of quality applicants just because it's taking too much time and effort to fill out your application. So I'm gonna be speaking specifically through the lens of the social media channel, where we've done quite a bit of testing in regards to the types of applications that people are filling out, but you can use these strategies also for other types of sources. So we found it really interesting, the amount of questions you're asking and how that changes the applicant flow for your ad spend. So for example, say you're running a targeted social media ad to attract applicants for a manufacturing position or a caregiver position. We've seen even the simple component of leveraging an internal Facebook conversion page versus sending somebody to an external link, maybe a link to your careers page that's maybe not super mobile friendly or something like that. That changes your application rate 10x. So asking the same amount of questions and but having an internal conversion page within the Facebook app versus sending them to an external landing page, you spend the same amount of advertising spend. Say you spend $100 in a 1 week advertising campaign, you'll get 10 applicants from your Facebook form and only 1 applicant if you're sending them to an external landing page. So that's one specific test that we've seen just by creating too much friction in sending someone to an external page that's maybe not super mobile friendly is enough of friction to deter a lot of applicants. The other thing we've found is the number of questions asked in an application really determines the amount of applicants you'll get here. And the way I think about this is, I'll say the sweet spot we found is about 3 to 5 questions is really where you want to end up at, is you'll qualify your candidates enough that you're not just getting a lot of unqualified candidates, but it's also not too many questions that will deter a lot of people from filling out the application. And that, again, you can really use this strategically as well. If you're seeing, hey, we're getting too many unqualified candidates, then ask a couple more questions. Or if you're, hey, we need to up the applicant flow because we're not even getting an at-bat to start conversations with applicants. All right, ask me fewer questions. And really, I recommend questions related to their previous job experience. Some answers that can be very clear into what, if this potential applicant is a qualified candidate. What's your previous work experience? How many years of experience do you have in that position? Those types of questions can be really great questions that give you really good insight as a recruiter if this is a candidate worth pursuing. And it's also not bogging the candidate down with a ton of unnecessary questions that you can maybe still ask during the interview process. So there's some tips around the application process. Again, I would just think strategically about this, especially in this kind of new hiring environment. A lot of people still have their old applications that they used 5 years ago, and maybe they worked back then, but maybe you should take a fresh look at what your application process is now in relation to the hiring market that we're in. Thanks so much for joining me for this episode, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.